What is good, y'all? Happy Thursday. Hope y'all are having a beautiful, beautiful morning so far. Man, let me get this document pulled up. I am true. Let me get it pulled up. All right. So, like usual, the document will be on YouTube and then Instagram. For TikTok, can't share the document still, but once that's lifted, we'll get to it. But today we're gonna talk about the alchemy of faith. We're gonna talk about the power of faith in your life. My bad, y'all. Let me make sure this is good to go. Okay, so lately we've been talking a lot about perspective. We've been talking about your perspective, your perception of life, and how your perception actually shapes your reality. Today we're going to talk about your faith, how to hold your faith. We're going to use biblical examples of faith. And what I'm going to challenge y'all to do is, whether you look at the Bible from a historical sense or whatever, however you look at it, I'm going to go through certain stories, certain biblical stories, from a purely metaphorical sense. All right. And so we're going to talk about the power of faith in getting what you want in life, how faith is your superpower. Your perspective is your superpower. When I talk about your perspective being your weapon, I'm talking about your faith. Okay. These are one in the same. All right. So the alchemy of faith, right? Unlocking the unseen. So faith is more than belief. It is the unseen force that turns impossibilities into certainties. The alchemical process that transforms doubt into divine manifestation. Across the scriptures and the annals of history, faith has been the bridge between man and the miraculous. It is the force that has guided prophets, kings, and visionaries through darkness and the light. Today we embark on a journey through the esoteric dimensions of faith, reflecting on its mysteries, its power, and how it unlocks the unseen realms of existence. Okay, so first part, the substance of things hoped for. Now, faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen, right? Hebrews 11:1. So faith is not blind. It is an invisible architecture that supports the reality of things yet to come. It is the vibration that calls forth creation. When Noah built the ark, he did not wait for rain. He listened to the voice beyond reason. Imagine the mockery, the isolation, yet in his unwavering faith, he became the preserver of mankind. Okay, faith is the bridge between the seen and the unseen, the whispered promise of a future not yet realized. It is the seed that must be planted before the harvest can be gathered. When we lose sight of faith, we lose sight of possibility. And so the reflection question after this is, how often do we abandon our inner calling because it does not align with the logic of the world? How many dreams have we sacrificed on the altar of doubt? How many of your dreams have been slaughtered by your doubt? Whether that doubt was built up internally, or it started off with just people doubting you. How many of your dreams have you sacrificed on the altar of doubt? Okay, why this story is so beautiful? We talk about Noah. We understand that Noah heard the voice of the Most High, directly communicated with the Most High, and he was told to build this ark. Some of you have dreams that you have been gifted by the Most High. The Most High has whispered in your ear and said, okay, I want you to do this. Now you perceive this whispering as just a desire that you have. It might be something big, okay? But you know that initially when you started, you are going to receive pushback. People are going to tell you can't do it. People are going to say, well, bro, you've never been able to accomplish anything anyway, right? Why are you going to start down this path now? Okay. This is the challenge that many people have when they have a goal that they consider large in their mind, right? Because we all know that at the moment that you start something is not the moment that you actually reap the rewards. You don't reap the harvest until it's actually time for the harvest to be reaped, okay? So we all have to go through this time in our life where we're trying to build stuff, we're trying to work on stuff, and nothing's really showing up for us in the external world yet, okay? People might be against us. People might be doubting you. People might be doing whatever, okay? Now, are you the type that abandons your inner calling because of the doubt of the external world? Right? How many dreams have you sacrificed on the altar of doubt? Okay? So, the leap beyond sight, faith demands action. All right, Abraham, the father of faith, was called to leave his homeland, not knowing where he was going. His journey was not dictated by maps, but by trust in the unseen. Okay, so Genesis 12:1, go from your country, your people, and your father's household to the land I will show you. Okay, not the land I have shown you, but the land I will show you. Okay, so this is a metaphor for the journey that we all have to travel. If you want to get something, you want to step into different things in your life. I don't care if it's a new relationship. Doesn't matter if it is a new business that you're trying to start, a new job. You never know what that thing is going to look like until you get there. But you always have a choice. I can step out of the comfort of what I'm doing right now, because let's not confuse comfort for satisfaction. All right? Comfort. Your human mind would prefer suffering in a predictable environment over moving into a better environment that is unpredictable. This is why people can stay in jobs for 20, 30, 40 years that they complain about every day when, if they had just dedicated a couple months or maybe a couple years to really focusing on building a new skill, they could have gotten out of it. But your mind, that human part of you, is going to choose that suffering. So when you start walking down the path of getting new things, what tends to happen is you leave that comfortable environment and people might doubt you. Things might not work out exactly as you expected them at first. And so you're in this unknown, and your brain says, your body says, your mind says, your soul says, well, not your soul, but the human part of you says, okay, this is uncomfortable. I don't know when everything is going to be made manifest for me. I don't know when the prosperity is going to start flowing. I didn't like where I was before, but it was comfortable. It was comfortable for me to wake up late every day. Right? It was comfortable for me to be broke. Life was predictable then. Okay? But now I'm in a different type of uncomfort. I'm in an uncomfort of unknown. And we see this already in these two stories we talked about. We can talk about Noah. All right. The Most High said there was going to be a flood, said you need to build this ark, but you ain't seen the flood yet. You're not going to see it until it gets there, right? Abraham was told, go to this land, leave your country, leave your people, leave your father's household to the land I will show you. Not, let me show you this land and I'll go there. It's, I will show you this once you get there. So when you leave the things that make your life comfortable behind, when you leave the things that are familiar to you behind, and familiar can be suffering, like I said before, familiar could be abuse, there's going to be an uncomfortable part. This is even why, whatever, I was thinking about the sensitivity, was what I was about to say. This is even why certain people struggle to leave terrible relationships. They're in abusive relationships. They're getting cheated on all the time, right? And so they try to leave, but it's uncomfortable for them to sit in that solitude. It's uncomfortable for them to walk away. So they tend to end up going back. Of course, you can say there's other psychological reasons as well, but your mind, your body is still going to prefer the familiar patterns of your habits over that new reality, no matter how much you want the new reality. So you're always in this battle. It's you versus you. It's always you versus you. I want something new. I want a new experience. I want some new things. I want new relationships, right? I'm going to have to kill off and abandon this old version of me that's trapped in this old reality, right? And then I'm going to have to be willing to sit in the uncomfort, the discomfort of this unknown, where life's not predictable anymore. Things aren't going the way they used to, but nothing's going the way that I expected. It is uncomfortable. Can you sit in that area with faith? If you can sit in that area with faith, now your prosperity can actually flow to you, all right? So every great transition in life requires a leap beyond sight. Abraham's story teaches us that faith is often a journey into the unknown. The human mind craves certainty, but faith thrives in uncertainty. The call to faith is a call to trust, okay? The call to faith is a call to trust. It's bold, that. To move forward without proof. To step into destiny without a guarantee, okay? Nothing changes if nothing changes. Nothing changes if nothing changes, y'all. You can stay in the same situation and it's going to be painful. You can choose the pain of growth. You always have these options in everything in your life, right? You are in certain situations. If you don't choose to change them, you're choosing to stay in them. You're choosing to have those things repeat over and over and over again, right? You want a new relationship. You want a better, healthier relationship where you're going to have the brass and the conviction to step out of it and step into the unknown of being by your damn self and doing some work to get better so you can get what you want. You want to start that business? You're going to have to step out of what you're doing, and you're going to have to step into the unknown of building that new business, right? You want a new relationship with your friends. You want to be more vulnerable with your friends. You want to build a better community with the friends that you have. You're going to have to step into the unknown of being vulnerable first. You want a better relationship with your parents because y'all been struggling. You're going to have to step into the unknown of being vulnerable with them. Everything that you want requires a step into the unknown. Every single thing, no exception. Okay? But you can either choose the pain of things staying the same, or you can choose the pain of changing them, right? And the pain of changing them is often, of course, it's always the most rewarded. So the human mind craves certainty, but faith thrives in uncertainty, okay? And this is something that we really need to remember. Your human mind craves certainty. It prefers certainty, all right? If it can have the comfort of predicting everything, this is what your brain, the conscious mind that we tend to overuse as humans, our conscious mind craves certainty, and it would rather put you in situations that are more certain. This is even why you could be running a mile, and most people can run much farther than they do run. But the moment that your mind says, you know what, I'm going to stop, I'm done, your body is immediately ready to stop. Your brain knows that, you know, it's 100% guaranteed that eventually we're going to stop. You have to be the one that fights against that and says, okay, I'm going to keep going. I'm going to take another step. I'm not there yet. And what you see is your body can go much longer than your mind can. All right. One of the more important aspects of even working out, of distance running, of conditioning, of endurance, right? It is the mental challenge of it. It's not just the physical challenge. It is the mental challenge. This is true with everything. There's a mental challenge in trying to build healthier relationships where you have to step into unknown things, uncomfortable situations. You have to have uncomfortable conversations. You want a better relationship with your parents, you're going to have uncomfortable conversations. You want to start your business, you're going to have to do things that are uncomfortable that you don't know how to do yet, right? Even if you want a new job, you're going to have to step into an uncomfortable, unknown place. But the unknown is where the miracles happen. All the things that you want are sitting in the unknown. All the things that you already know about, you know, those are maybe things that you wanted before, things that you're trying to outgrow and trying to move on from, okay? But everything that you want is in the unknown. Now you have to step out into it, okay? So the call to faith is a call to trust, to move forward without proof, to step into destiny without a guarantee. Throughout history, pioneers and visionaries have demonstrated this leap. When the Wright brothers sought to defy gravity, they were ridiculed. When explorers set sail across the ocean, whether you believe they found something or not, they faced the unknown. Faith is not about waiting for conditions to be perfect. It is about moving despite imperfection. So where are we being called to step out despite the uncertainty? Where in your life are you being called? Do you feel pulled to step out, right? And Coco, I'm glad you resonating with this one, brother. And if y'all have any questions, just leave them in the comments. I'll get to them throughout the lecture, or we'll have a little Q&A at the end. But of course, the document will be on YouTube. So you can always check the document out on YouTube, download it, comment on it, do whatever you want with it, right? You feel like women don't have that, don't have what? The uncertainty or faith? Nah, I think this is a human thing. This is a human thing. There's always uncertainty. I mean, we have differences in gender, right? And the way that we experience life. But, you know, the unknown is something that is very relevant to everyone. Stepping into new situations, stepping out of situations that we're comfortable in, whether they're positive or quote unquote negative. Right? We all have to develop the bravery to do that. You know, you can even be a very destructive person if you're not willing to step into the unknown. We all know people who they can't sit by themselves outside of a relationship. All right. So they might be in a relationship today, and then before they break up, they're attached to somebody else. Right. They start doing the micro cheating and they attach to somebody else, because that just stepping out into the unknown by themselves is a very, very uncomfortable thing. But you'll also see that if you just continue to attach yourself to people and try to roll from person to person, you don't sit long enough alone to do any real work, to do any real healing. Sure, you can heal with other people, but if you're just using other people for band-aids, you're not going to get the depth of healing that you truly need. Oftentimes, like those heartbreaks, being pushed into uncomfort, this is actually a calling from your soul to sit your ass down by yourself. That's what it is. It's not a calling for you to go jump into the bed with somebody else, to go jump into a situation with somebody else. But a lot of people do because it is comfortable. But then that's why also a lot of people aren't finding that divine counterpart, because they're not doing what their soul says. Because they are not doing what their soul says. So why she called me pissed off, then I sent her a video of me. I don't even understand how that's, I don't even understand what you're trying to say with that. She called you pissed off, then you sent her a video working, and she loves it. I don't know. Maybe she think you cheating, bro. It sounds like a whole different problem than what we're talking about. But we can talk about that if you want. We can talk about that thing. All right. So reflect. Where are we being called to step out despite the uncertainty? Throughout history, pioneers and visionaries have demonstrated this leap. Okay, I want to go back to this one. When the Wright brothers sought to defy gravity, they were ridiculed. When explorers set sail across the ocean, they faced the unknown. Faith is not about waiting for conditions to be perfect. It is about moving forward despite imperfection. One of the things that we have to come to a realization of is that the situation will never be perfect for you to start. Your mind is going to create this idea of perfection. And what that idea of perfection is, it is your mind trying to make a completely predictable situation for you to step out on. You ever met somebody who was trying to start a business and they were like, oh, I just need everything to be perfect. And then you start really talking to them, and they've been trying to start this shit up for years and they haven't taken a step. They've just been doing all this planning, right? Your brain, right, is trying to create the perfect, predictable scenario for you to step into. But the beautiful thing about life is it's never 100% predictable. You can never predict everything, okay? But in the unpredictable moments, that's when growth happens. So oftentimes the best move that we can make is to take that step forward. You have these visions in your mind, start working towards them. Start putting in work, start heading towards these things. Right? Because if you don't, it's very easy to stay in the same situation or to stay in a planning phase for much longer than you need to be. Once you start executing, the path actually starts to open up for you. Once you make the plan and you start working it, the plan gets more clarity. You get more clarity on what you need to do. Certain doors close, certain opportunities open up, you get redirected. It's as if the Most High just comes into your plan and says, okay, I'm glad that you know what you want. And just because you have a plan and you're working towards it, that means you are willing to move forward. So I will take this plan and I will revise it. I will revise it to what you need. And so I'll guide you here. I'll close that. I'll slap you around here. I'll put you on the path to help somebody else here. You need to be sharpened in some way. Okay, I'm going to invite this other opportunity in your life for you to get a little bit sharper. right? Because nobody can make a perfect plan. The situation will never be perfect. Nothing will ever, and when I say perfect, keep in mind, I mean predictable, 100% predictable, because this is what your brain wants. So oftentimes when we're chasing perfection, we're chasing 100% predictability. I don't want to launch this until it's perfect. I don't want to launch this until everything is 100% predictable. But it'll never be. You'll always have things that come up, right? Think of the largest company you know, Amazon or Apple or whoever, right? Even their operations aren't 100% smooth. They still have to handle issues as they come up. As they're growing, they do different things. So what makes you think you're going to plan out something to 100% predictability and then push it into the world and not touch it again, or just be able to expect everything, right? It's an unrealistic thing, but it's something that we all have to struggle with, and we all have to overcome within ourselves. I got you. I figured that's what it meant. POS. All right, so why does God keep hurting me? All I want is love. So I think you're confusing what you're trying to, what the meaning of pain coming into your life is. First and foremost, is that your perspective of life and the situations that come into your life have to change for you to have a different outlook on pain. Meaning, what do you have faith in? Do you have more faith in that relationship, or do you have more faith in the Most High? Do you have more faith that this woman is the right one for you, or do you have more faith that the Most High is going to provide you the right woman? Because if you have more faith that the Most High will provide you the right woman, that means everything that comes into your life is going to be a lesson for you. It's going to be an opportunity for you to look whatever situation you're going through in the face and say, okay, is this in alignment with me? If it is, keep going. And when I say alignment, I don't mean perfection. I mean, does this person put up this mirror to help me grow? Do I help them grow? Do they challenge me in graceful ways? Are we building towards something? That does not mean perfection. It doesn't mean that the situation that you're going to be in or are in is going to be without faults. But if it's not in alignment in that way, and y'all are beating each other down, y'all are draining each other, y'all aren't moving with intention or purpose to build anything, y'all are more focused on what's going on within each other's phones. Okay, well, how can that be a divine connection? And if it's not, what is the lesson that the Most High is trying to teach you right now? So if in your mind, you have this desire of being in this healthy, loving relationship, what happens spiritually, metaphysically, whatever you want to call it, is that your soul is going to start attracting the things into your life that are going to help you be the person that can get the thing that you want. And what these things are going to look like, these lessons are going to look like, they're going to look like heartbreaks. They're going to look like, people potentially hurting you. Okay, they're going to look like people just out of alignment with you. Exactly. They're going to look like feeling like you're walking on eggshells all the time. Okay? Now, do you feel loved in this situation? Do you feel respected in this situation? All right, well, if you don't feel respected, first of all, you should really self-evaluate and say, okay, am I someone that is worth respecting? Which is a very subjective thing. Because even if I do believe that other person still has to respect me. We still have to be in alignment. Right? But then after that, what is it? If I'm in the situation and I do not feel like we're in alignment, we're not building anything, there's no respect there, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells, she's calling me out, and I'm telling her I'm at work, but she's cussing me out, I feel exhausted in this relationship. If all of those things are stacked up, then what is this situation trying to tell you? Is that a way that you want to live for the rest of your life? Are you just in there because you're somehow trying to mend this? Or are you literally here because you think that this is your divine match? And I can tell you right now, just from that information, it's not. So there's something within you that you have to work on that's being reflected out into this relationship. The sooner you can find that, the sooner that you can grow. And no, that's exactly what this is. So I'm glad you said that, brother, because that's exactly what this is. It's the uncertainty of being alone, and you always have. I mean, like I was just saying, right? You have the two paths that you can choose. You can choose the pain of being in the same situation, or you can choose the pain of changing your situation, of being brave and stepping out of that situation and saying, okay, it's not right for me. This was obviously teaching me a lesson. Because even the bad things that happen in your life are going to give you more clarity on what you want. Things don't work out your way. You're going to get more clarity and, okay, I want something different. I don't want a partner that treats me like this. I want somebody that actually respects me. Okay, so even that clarity, there's no respect. I want somebody that respects me. That clarity gives me an opportunity to work on myself. It gives me an opportunity to look in the mirror, to start reading more, to research, okay, what would make me respect myself? Do I respect myself? Because if I did respect myself, would I be with somebody who doesn't respect me? Which is a very accountable question that we have to ask ourselves. And I don't think enough people ask themselves that. Right? If you did respect yourself, would you be with somebody that doesn't respect you? No, you wouldn't. Okay, so what does that mean? How can I make myself respectable? What about me? What does a respectable man or respectable woman look like? Okay, write that down. Are there people throughout history or people in your life that you look to and you respect? Okay, what aspects, what qualities of them do you respect? Okay, make your life this project. Now, if you see these qualities, how can you build those qualities within yourself? Do you keep promises to yourself? All right. Is it the way they speak, the way they hold themselves, the way they just show consistency in life and the things they do? What is it about them? Now build those things into you. Okay. And then you go out into the world and you make sure that you match with people that respect you also. Okay. So, when we talk about all those things that people label, I'm not saying they're not real, but I don't really get caught up into things like, anxious attachment and avoidant and codependent and all that. It's just when I understand the God that flows through me, the God that flows through you, it's not limited. Okay. So our mind is so powerful that if we put a label on what we are, we manifest that into our life. This is why certain people, they get so attached to their zodiac sign that they literally walk through life and they become a victim of their zodiac sign. Your zodiac sign is meant to show you karmically certain things that you have to work on through this life. And it's a guide to help you transcend. Okay, so I'm a Scorpio, right? So some of the traits or characteristics about Scorpio is that, they're jealous. They could be controlling. Now, if I just walk through and I said, okay, I have to go through life like that, and I am this way because I'm a Scorpio, well then, would my relationships be as fulfilling as I want them to be? Would I even choose the right people because I'm already having this expectation that I should be jealous? So if somebody comes into my life, I can just write it off as, oh, well, it's because I'm a Scorpio. Well, what if they're not the right person for me? Or what if I'm not the right person for them? I haven't done enough work on myself because I've attached this label to me. Okay, so these things are always stuff that we can transcend. I don't want to walk through life believing that, okay, God is within me, but I'm limited. It doesn't even make sense. Okay, it makes sense from a worldly perspective, right? But it doesn't make sense on a divine, on a conscious perspective, right? Like you can't. God is not an anxious, attachment, avoidant, codependent person or codependent entity. It's all that it is. So everything is this reflection of you, right? Everything is the Most High, right? You are the Most High. So how can you be placed in a box? So sure, we can label ourselves. Whether you want to take that label and carry it through your life, it's your decision. But your mind is strong enough that if you want to transcend that label or stay in that label, you're right either way. The world will bend to you either way to prove that you are or are not that thing. Okay, this is the power of your mind. This is the power of your consciousness. This is the power of your perspective. This is the power of your perspective. If you put yourself in a box, you will literally manifest that box in your life. You will be thrown situations that will prove that you are jealous. that will prove that you are codependent, that will prove that you are an anxious, avoidant attachment, blase, blase, right? If you believe that I can only attract narcissists, this is what you're going to do. You're going to pull in people into your reality that are going to show you that, right? If you believe that all women ain't shit, you're going to attract a bunch of women in your life that are going to prove that. If you believe all men ain't shit, you're going to attract a bunch of men into your life that prove that. This is the power of your mind. Okay. This is in line with everything that we're talking about faith right here, right? Is that your faith, your perspective is your superpower. So this is why a lot of things are fed to you. This is why even with zodiac signs, like I was saying, it's real, but in the way that these things are presented to us nowadays, there's still an aspect of programming to it, right? You can almost look at a doctor or a, as well-versed and well-intentioned as they may be, of course, you can almost look at them like a voodoo or witch doctor. They can give you a diagnosis, and with that diagnosis, you can start attaching that to your ego. Because when we come down here as souls, we have to have an ego to survive in this third dimensional reality. You have to have an ego to be down here. Okay, and oftentimes our ego we have so many identities here. So this is why you can walk through life and say, I'm an engineer. You say, I'm an engineer and I work for this company. And then when you leave that company, you get fired. It's like a part of you is dying. Because literally a version of you is attached to that thing. There's a version of you that says, I am an engineer that works at this company. And if you lost that job, it would be like a part of you is dying. This is even when we step out of relationships, right? There's a part of you that saw the rest of your life with this person. That part of you is dying, right? Even if, you lose a parent, whatever you lose in life, when you attach naturally as humans, because we have an ego, we're going to start attaching our identity to things as we go through life, right? And so a part of you dies when you lose things. And so what is the reverse? Why is it so difficult to leave things? Well, because it's like you are killing a part of yourself when you're leaving something, right? I could be in a job, I might not like it, but part of my identity is still attached to this job. I might be in a relationship, I might not like it, but part of my identity might be attached to being in a relationship or being with this person. And so for me to kill that part of me and step into this unknown, it's difficult on a spiritual level, on a subconscious level, but then also on a physical level. So I'm not saying any of this is easy to do, but it'll always be better to step into the unknown versus staying in a situation that you are suffering in. A situation that's not in alignment with who you actually want to be. Okay? You're doing yourself a disservice by doing that. Cool. All right, so number 3, walking on water, the fragility of faith. Okay, so when Peter stepped out of the boat to walk on water, he was upheld by faith but sank when he became distracted by fear, right? Lord, save me, he cried. And Jesus immediately reached out, Matthew 14:30-31. All right, faith is delicate. It's very, very delicate. And it's a muscle you have to build, just like discipline. Faith isn't a one-time thing. It's a conscious decision that you make moment by moment to walk in that faith, to bring that faith back into your life, right? It flourishes in trust and withers in doubt. The moment we take our eyes off the divine and fix them on the chaos around us, we begin to sink. See, when Peter was walking and he kept his mind on the Most High, he kept his mind on Yahshua, on Jesus, right? He was able to walk on water. He was able to walk through whatever chaos was presented to him. But as soon as he took his mind, his eyes off of the Most High, or the representation of the Most High, and he actually put his mind in the chaos of the world, that is when he began to sink. This is a metaphor. This is a metaphor for how we need to walk through life to get the things that we want. So if you have a desire, your desire might be prosperity, a healthy relationship, and you're walking through life and everything around you is showing you the opposite. You're seeing people online tell you that all men are like this, all women are like this. Your bank account is saying that you got to struggle to pay rent, right? The bills are piling up. Do you keep your focus on what you want and the promise of the Most High? Or do you keep your faith and your focus on everything that you see around you, right? Because when your faith is placed on the Most High, it's placed on your desires, okay? It's placed on your faith. And you can look at everything and say, everything is working out for me. You will float. You will get the things that you want. But the moment that you start placing your attention and your eyes just on everything around you, you start removing your mind from the divine understanding that everything is working out for you. This is when you start sinking, okay? So Peter's story is our story, okay? We step out in faith only to be pulled down by the weight of doubt, fear, and distraction. But even in our sinking, faith does not abandon us, right? Even in your sinking, even when you lose your place for a little bit. This is what a lot of people think. They'll say, okay, well, I had this faith for a couple of days, and then, I was trying to get this thing, and the outside world started to present me things that were against what I wanted, and I fell off the path. Just step right back on the path. Just step right back on. Faith, the Most High is always watching you, always ready to act. Think of the Most High infinite consciousness as this divine energy that's always around you, always hugging you, loving you, okay? But it's made active by your faith. And the moment you pull your faith away, it stops. But it's still there, ready to support you, ready to pick up exactly where it left off, right? And the moment you place your attention back on it, okay, boom, you can float again. You can feel good again, okay? But if you keep your mind off of it, then you're gonna sink, right? So there's this constant juggling. There's this constant battle. It's always you versus you. It is always you versus you. So we think that we're battling the external world, that the external world is showing us all these things that are against us because it's trying to break us down. Everything is against us. That's not the case. This is just the test to see if you can overcome yourself. Can you overcome yourself? No matter what goes on in your life, can you continue to walk as the person that you say you are? Can you be who you say you are? And when you prove that to yourself, when you prove that to the world, right? Because the process of getting the things you want is also a sharpening process. Everything in life is going to start giving you opportunities to really, solidify this state. And what you'll see is that when you have a desire, right? You're going to have, let's use prosperity. You have this desire for prosperity. Okay. All right. You have this desire for prosperity. You start walking down that path to prosperity. Okay. Your ego is so used to being broke that sometimes your ego is still looking like, why are you having all this hope? Let's focus on everything in this world instead. All right. And so sometimes you're going to feel this tug where it's like, damn, I feel like I'm fighting myself. I'm trying to remain faithful, but it's like I'm also pulling myself back into the world and trying to say, bro, look around you. Everything is falling apart. Just stress out. That's what you're used to doing. Okay. And so you're going to have to keep tugging your ego. But what reinforces it is that your soul brings these situations into your life so that as you keep that perspective of faith and you walk through it and your perspective starts to cut through reality, when things start to go right, one thing falls into place, all of a sudden your ego sees it and it gets proof with you. So all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this is working. So now your body, your ego fights against you less, right? Now another situation comes in and you cut through that. And then something good comes into your life again. Now your ego sees it and says, oh shit, this is doing something. Okay? So this is the same way that you get programmed into the negative mindset. Is that when you're constantly expecting negative things and negative things are happening, or most people expect the same thing. Let's not even call it negative. Most people have lived the same life for the last 10 years. They might have changed job titles, but the salary's been around the same. No big drastic decisions. They date the same type of women. They go to the same type of places on the weekend. They go for the same type of walks. They drive the same types of cars. Most people do the same type of shit over and over and over again because they expect the same types of things. So eventually when you expect the same and you keep getting the same, your ego is pulled on board. So, okay, this is how life is. So, This is how your ego has formulated this opinion around how life should be. And now when you try to step out of that mode into something a little bit better, you feel me? You have to pull your ego on board. So it's going to feel like you're fighting against yourself. This is natural. This is literally the Most High giving you opportunities to pull your ego on board. Bro, keep pulling it, right? You're not going to get, no matter what you want, you're not going to get the fullness of everything all together, right? So if you want this car, there's steps. Your money starts to increase. Then you start to get more specific on what you want. Then you start getting closer to what you want, right? Then different opportunities come. And then what you realize is, oh, I had other desires that were attached to this car, or I had other desires in the past, and they start to trickle in. So even if I have a big desire, a bunch of little shit happens along the way. And all those little things are opportunities. They're opportunities for you. First of all, they're not going to manifest unless your faith stays strong. But as one after the other show up in your life, this gives your ego an opportunity to see, oh, this shit is for real. If we expect positive, we get positive. And now your job is to remember those things and continue walking through those things. And now the battle with yourself gets easier and easier because you start to prove it to yourself. That all just came to me right now, bro. That's a good example though, right? So you start to prove these things to yourself over time. This is the beauty of just walking the path. This is the beauty of being in this reality, how everything just unfolds and trickles in for you. It trickles in for you. It allows you to enjoy and savor these things. But human nature, the flesh that you're in, wants to reject stuff. It wants to look back at negativity, especially if that's what you're used to. So every time you see something good, you need to continue to reinforce that in your mind. This is why even people, there are certain people that just have a negative perspective that even if something good goes on, they'll still shift back to the negative. And so they'll constantly start getting the same shit. Let's look at the biblical story. One of my favorites, the Israelites being led out of Egypt. This is a story that I always use, but we're going to use it again because it's perfect in this situation. I want y'all to really pay attention to the metaphor of this situation. The Israelites were in bondage by the Egyptians. Pharaoh was ruling over them. The Most High sent Moses to get them out of there. And what the Most High did, he didn't just say, Moses, go, y'all have a desire for freedom. Okay, so think about this. The Most High didn't just say the Israelites want freedom, boom, give them freedom, trample all the Egyptians right now. What he did is he implemented steps. So first step, he offered Moses. He said, Moses, go in, go talk to Pharaoh, even though Moses had a stutter. First miracle right there. So the Israelites see Moses and they're like, okay, this dude has a stutter, but all of a sudden he's the one that's going to lead us. So now Moses is able to do 7 miracles. I believe it's 7. I think it's 7, right? Turned the water to blood, killed the first kid, sent the plague. This is just like things trickling in your life till you get to your big desire of freedom, financial freedom, the divine car you want. So each one of these opportunities proves to you, oh shit, God is with me. Oh shit, God is with me a little bit more. Now, stay with me on this story. So the Egyptians are finally let go after Moses went in and the Most High killed all the kids, all the firstborn sons of the Egyptians. Now the Israelites are out. Now you would think, I've gotten all this shit, I should know that the Most High is on my side. Then the Most High says, okay, well, I'm going to harden Pharaoh's heart. When y'all walk out of here, I'm going to harden his heart. So he's going to come after you and I'm going to show him the power of God. I'm just going to completely destroy them. All right. So the Israelites leave, but the Egyptians follow because all of a sudden Pharaoh follows them as the Most High said. But what happens is that the Israelites get to a place between the land and the sea and they get trapped there. Not trapped though. They can easily go, but they just are sitting there. The Egyptians are following, and the Most High puts this fog or this separator in between the Egyptians and the Israelites. So they're just sitting there in this quote unquote trapped place. They don't really know what's next. The unknown. This is the unknown in your life. Things are happening, but I still have this big desire ahead of me. I don't know what to do. And I'm just sitting here in this unknown, and it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. because it was comfortable. I knew what I was doing when I was in slavery. Even though I didn't like it, it was predictable. Now, what did the Egyptian or the Israelites start doing in this moment of uncomfort? They started complaining. They started saying, man, Moses, look, we should have stayed in slavery. Now they're going to catch us now. They're going to kill us. But the Most High had already given them 7 miracles and told them that Pharaoh was going to follow them. He had already told them this shit. But with their humanity, with the human aspect of them, they still saw all this. There was a comfortable, familiar place that they had been living in. Even though they were suffering and struggling, it was familiar. Just like that bad relationship, even though you're struggling and suffering, it's familiar. Just like that job you hate, even though you're struggling and suffering, it is familiar. And the Most High is showing you all these things, and you're moving down the path to get to what you want, and then you get to a point, and you're like, oh shit, man, this is uncomfortable. I should have stayed back there. Surely that is better than this. They even started to complain so much that Moses himself started questioning shit like, hey, God, what's up? So Moses went to talk to the Most High and said, okay, God, look, what do we do now? And in this moment, in this place of the unknown, what the Most High said is, what are you praying to me for? Just go. Just keep moving. But keep in mind, they're in front of the sea. Keep in mind, they're in front of the sea. So they're in this unknown space. Right? Now, in the removed text from the Bible, what actually happens is the Most High tells Moses, all right, if y'all don't want to move, just go out, put your staff in the sea or put your hand over the sea and part it. So Moses goes and does that. In the Bible, the sea immediately parts. But in the removed text from the Bible, the sea doesn't immediately part. They actually stay there for more days. That one of the Egyptians actually walks into the water. And he walks all the way into the water until the water is above his nose. Think about how uncomfortable this is. Think about the metaphor this is in for life. Think about that. You're in this unknown space. The Most High is showing you all these things. You feel like it would be more comfortable to go back. But you go forward, and it feels like things are about to fail when you're going forward. That business isn't showing up the way you wanted it to. Right? Being single is tough. You bet you can't wait. You're ready to pick up the phone and call that ex-spec. All right? The water was above his nose, so he can't breathe anymore. And at that very moment when he couldn't breathe, boom, the water parted. And the Israelites walked through it. And then when they got to the other side, we all know what happened, right? The Egyptians followed. The water closed, boom, their enemies were gone forever. Their past was completely dissolved. This is the ultimate story of faith, of keeping your faith on the things that you want, on keeping your faith on the Most High. This is the ultimate story of that. I want you can go back and revisit that story if you want, right? But this is the truth in everything. So these things that present themselves to you on the path to what you want are opportunities for you to pull your ego with you. Oh shit, we see this. Make a mental note. The Most High came through for me here. Your ego has more proof. Things are going to get better. You just don't want to get to that point where you go back to the old thing. And you should know that when you are sitting in that unknown space, and the Most High says, what are you praying to me for? Just go, just move, just do something. You already know what to do. Just continue working the plan. Continue having faith. Continue moving forward. And at the right time, the sea will part. This is even when we talk about having the faith of a mustard seed, right? So you plant a seed, the seed gets planted, it starts growing. It has no idea when it's going to get out the soil. It's just growing. As a matter of fact, first the seed grows down. It has to grow its roots into the ground. Deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, and you don't know what the hell is doing. You're deeper and deeper and deeper into your depression, your quote unquote depression, or into these bad feelings, to these negative perspectives all around you. And then when you least expect it, boom, there goes the light and you take off. And then we all say, oh, it was nothing but God. But we were tripping in the unknown. We were tripping when we were just being planted. When we were just being planted and our roots needed to grow underneath the ground. When we were just sitting in that place simply because we refused to continue moving down the path. The Israelites they just refused to move. If they had just walked in the water, it would have parted. If they had just continued to walk, it would have parted. But they stopped. And because they stopped moving while they were in that unknown space, that's when those questions started to come up. Oh, shit, what do I do now? What do I do now? Dang, the doubt started to creep in, okay? And this is a natural thing. But like I said, the Most High is always hugging you, always ready to be activated by your faith, always. So the moment you turn back to faith, that's the moment everything goes back into your favor again. This is the moment you start to collapse time to get to what you want. You become a vortex. You start pulling all the shit that you want into your reality. And then it unfolds piece by piece, right? It's like the things that you desire, you had this big thing that you desire, and literally the moment that you have faith, you become like fucking Iron Man when all his machine parts are flying to him and it's building up around him gradually until everything locks on and then activates. This is what your faith is like. You just get little pieces that start flying into your reality. You get synchronicities here. You get little things here. You might have people just all of a sudden be nicer to you here. You have all of these little reminders that lead you down a path that reinforce you doing this the right way. You are doing this the right way. And now your ego can come on board. And now you can walk through life with a little bit more resilience, more sharper, right? But all these opportunities are helping you get to where you need to be. Point blank period. Point blank period. Everything is for you. Everything is for you. Everything is for you. Okay. So faith requires focus. This is why we meditate. This is why I've told y'all the leaf exercise that Elmer Locker on YouTube does. I think it was formulated by Neville Goddard, right? But this is why we meditate. This is why we practice focus. Because the longer you can focus, the longer that you can keep that faith. You develop focus so you can keep your perspective open, because you want to walk through life with the perspective that everything is happening for me. It's all divinely unflowing. I don't care what it looks like to you. Yeah, she left. I don't care what it looks like to you, but it's all unfolding for me. She left because I wasn't in alignment with her, and the Most High wanted me to have something better. Right? I got fired because something better is for me. I don't need to be there anymore. They were holding me back. I need to put more energy in my business anyway, because I was already trying to grind on it 6 hours. Now I can do 11 while I'm applying for other jobs, and I can get another job, but what I'm actually doing can expand more. But it's going to be uncomfortable because it's unknown, right? So can you stand in the unknown parts of your life with faith, with perspective, with focus, with the constant focus that, everything is working out for you, boy? You got this. God's got this, right? The Most High has never let me down. Can you constantly remember all those miracles that happened to you? All the time that the Most High sent you these synchronicities. You started Googling all the numbers that you were seeing. Right? All of a sudden, people were kinder to you. Okay, all of a sudden, there was no traffic. It's usually traffic. Now it's no traffic. Oh, shit, I got an extra, if you still eat McDonald's or Wendy's, I got an extra McNugget in my order. Can you start to celebrate these little things in life and understand that these nuggets are just giving you the opportunity to remember that the Most High is on your side? Beautifully, everything is for you. Nothing is against you. Nothing is against you, right? If you understood that God was within you, you would know that everything is for you. Everything is working out for you. Everything is being built up for you, okay? So faith requires focus. It demands that we keep our eyes fixed on the higher vision, rather than the turbulence around us. Everything that's around you right now is a product of the past. Your past thoughts have put you in this situation. I live here because a past version of me wanted to live here. I'm on this computer because a past version of me wanted to buy it, right? I have the money in my account because a past version of me was making decisions with money. I have this water in my cup right now because a past version of me 10 minutes ago wanted to drink some damn water. Everything is a product of the past, right now? Can I keep my perspective on what I want, on that higher vision? Can I keep my focus on that higher vision and continue to walk through life like a fucking soldier? To walk through life knowing who I am. Can I keep my perspective on knowing who the hell I am? Or do I slip back into the drama of everything that happened in the past around me? Because if you're constantly just focused on everything around you that's going on right now that happened in the past, what are you going to get? The same type of shit over and over again. So you're going to become like the person we were talking about earlier, the people that just live the same type of life for 10, 20, 30 years because they're just expecting the same shit. Because their mind is always focused on what is around them. The world that you are inhabiting right now, this third dimensional reality is literally a dead world. It's a world of the past. Right now, it is breaking down and reconstructing to your thoughts and desires. If your thoughts and desires are the same, it's reconstructing to bring you more of the same. If your thoughts and desires are on the things that you want, with the faith that activates the Most High, that is holding you and hugging you and flowing through you, well, shit, everything is falling apart to get better. So what does that mean? Let's break that down. Everything is falling apart to get better. Falling apart. Typically, when we look out the world and we have a worldly perspective, when we see things falling apart, we start panicking. Ah, shit, the world is falling apart. No. This is the fastest way to get you what you want. Imagine God just taking your reality and saying, no, we want something better, and just shaking that shit. Like, let's move that out. We want to do this in the quickest way possible, in the most divine way possible. Like, okay, get out of this reality, but let's shake this shit all the way up. That is what's happening. And with our limited human perspective, we look around like, shit, people are leaving my life, right? Money looks low. New bills are coming in because God's trying to tell you how much money you about to have, trying to give you hints. Can you change your perspective to that? Right, this woman is driving you nuts. This woman is cheating on you because it's time for you to move on. You can't have prosperity with her. This man's cheating on you because it's time to move on. You can't have the divine counterpart with him, right? But what is your perspective through these things? I'm not saying that there's not going to be any kind of emotional reaction. And that would be crazy to walk through life like a psychopath with no emotions. What I'm saying is that your perspective through your emotions is what you have to work to stay solid on. You don't have to work to stay happy 24/7. Staying happy 24/7, what's the difference between being happy 24/7, being always, or being sad 24/7? It's the same damn thing. It's just energy. There's just opposites on the polarity scale, just like hot and cold, right? You can be neutral, you can be hot, you can be cold, but you can still have your perspective that everything's working out for me. Yeah, I'm going to give myself time to grieve. Yeah, I'm going to give myself this time to be alone. Yeah, I'm not going to just try to latch on to somebody else because it feels good and I can't sit alone. And yeah, this relationship's falling apart, so now I want to, get a new dude or get a new woman because it feels good in this moment. Nah, hell nah. You're going through this because it's shaking everything up. Allow yourself to grieve, because in the grieving is when you actually get the lessons. But if you keep that higher perspective, the lessons come to you much, much quicker. When you have that lower vibrational perspective, the lessons, you struggle to get through the lessons, because when you turn into a victim, so here's the difference. When you have the higher perspective that everything is working out for you and that the Most High is on your side, you can't be a victim. How can the Most High be a victim? Has God ever been a victim? And so if you believe that you're a victim, that means you don't know who you are. You literally cannot be a victim if you are walking with the understanding. If you are walking on the understanding that everything works out for me, you can't be a victim. Right? But the moment that you believe that things aren't working out just for me, that is the moment that you actually become a victim. All right. So, walking on water, the fragility of faith, yada, yada, yada. Reflect. What distractions are pulling us away from the higher calling of faith? What waves have we allowed to shake our confidence? Okay. Now, faith in the darkest hour, the story of Job. All right, this one we're gonna break this one down. The story of Job. Job's faith was tested beyond measure. A man of great wealth and integrity. Job lost everything, his children, his servants, his livestock, his health. He was reduced to nothing, covered in sores, scraping himself with a broken piece of pottery. His friends questioned him. His wife urged him. His wife urged him to curse God and die. Yet Job refused. He declared, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Whew, that's a cold verse. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. Right? Most High is not slaying you, first and foremost. Right? It's just a misunderstanding prospectively. Right? But to understand that whatever happens around me, right? This is a product of the past. Things are falling apart so something better can happen. Things are falling apart so that something better can happen. Okay, so summary of Job's story. Job was a wealthy and righteous man who was devoted to God. He had a large family, abundant possessions, and was respected in his community. The Bible describes him as blameless and upright, fearing God and shunning evil, right? So like I said in the beginning of this, the challenge is to look at all these verses through a metaphorical lens. And you can study history later on, all right? Right now we're looking at the metaphorical lens of all these stories. Job 1:1. However, Satan, the accuser, challenges Job's faithfulness, claiming that Job only serves God because of his prosperity and protection. To test this, God allows Satan to strip Job of his wealth, children, and health, but not his life. Despite losing everything, Job refuses to curse God, instead declaring, the Lord gave and the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. As his suffering deepens, Job's friends come to quote unquote comfort him, but instead they accuse him of wrongdoing, suggesting that his suffering must be punishment for his sin. Job, in his despair, begins to question God, demanding to understand why he, a righteous man, suffers. Well, I'm doing all the right shit. Why the hell is I'm trying to be a good man. I'm trying to treat her right. I'm trying to treat him right. I'm trying to be a good woman. Why is the world doing this to me? Does this sound familiar? It's a familiar path that most people are on. Most people have been on, right? So eventually God speaks to Job out of a whirlwind, challenging him with questions that reveal his infinite wisdom and power. Challenging Job with questions. Job can't answer the questions. God is saying, I have weapons that you don't know of. I have ways that you can't fucking comprehend. So why are you sitting here questioning me? Your only job is to have faith. You're sitting here questioning me and you have no idea what I can do. You can only see things from your human perspective. Right? You can only see things through your human perspective. Okay? So God does not directly explain Job's suffering. He don't directly explain it, right? When you're going through this shit, you can never see the true test. You can never see the true lesson. You just have to have faith that there's a lesson there. But when you're going through this shit, you can't see it, okay? But instead, he reminds him of the grandeur of creation and the limits of human understanding. God's constantly beating that in our head, right? You don't know anything. This is a message. This is a lesson to you. You can look around and say things are falling apart, but you don't know shit. You only see what you can see. That's it. You can't see what the Most High sees. You can't see what your faith is actually building behind the scene. The word's going to come to you. His wife came to him. His wife came to him. His friends, everybody around him. Everything in the world was beginning to fall apart. This is metaphorical for when you are stepping out of the unknown into something. No matter what is going on in your life, can you have faith? It's easy to have faith when everything's going well, right? Your woman's being freaky for you just the way you like her to be, right? Your man's buying you flowers just the way you like them to. The job's paying your checks on time. You're getting along with everybody at work, but then all of a sudden you get a new boss at the job. Shit starts to get ugly. All of a sudden your money gets a little tight because you had an unexpected expense. All of a sudden, you find out something about your woman. You find out something about your man. Right? Do you still have faith that everything is working out for you? Or do you start trying to question? Not that there's anything wrong with question, but you start to lose faith. Let's put it like that. Do you start to lose faith? Okay? Job humbly acknowledges God's sovereignty and repents for questioning him. Man, sometimes I have to have this talk with the Most High within me, with the God within me, and say, okay, look, I know that I was tripping today, but I know that you are around me and you are ready to give me all the desires that I have. And I put my faith back on you. I have no idea what's going on, but I know that this is all for my greatest good. It's all to elevate me. It's all to make me better. It's all to bring me the things that I want, bring me the lessons that I need to receive. Okay? And so in the end, God restores Job's fortunes, giving him twice as much as he had before, along with new children and a long life. Everything that Job wanted was doubled. More kids, more little musty kids running around in his house. All right, twice as much fortune and a longer life just from faith. That's it. Just by having faith that the Most High works beyond my understanding. That's it. This is the moral of the story. Okay. So how Job's story relates to faith. Number one, faith beyond blessings. Job's story challenges the idea that faith should be based on material blessings. Even when everything was taken from him, Job held on to God, showing that true faith isn't transactional, but rooted in trust, not circumstances. But the beautiful thing is that once you have faith, prosperity can flow through you. Okay? Testing and refinement. Job's suffering was not a punishment, but a test that ultimately refined his faith. Just as gold is purified in fire, faith is often strengthened through trials. This actually helps you. Because if I'm saying that, okay, you have to walk through faith, you have to change your perspective to actually get the things that you want. Well, then, if you were somebody that had a strong faith, what would you expect to experience? You would expect to experience situations that test your faith, that allow you to step into a stronger version of you. Because let's say that you want something right now, you want a new job. As you go through life, one of the main purposes for desires or for experiences is that every time you receive a desire, you get a bigger desire. That's why when you get the money that you thought was good, now you want a little bit more, right? You always want a little bit more. The things that you have, they refine your desires. They make you want more. Okay, so as you're wanting more, you're going to have to go through more situations that require your faith. But as you can go through these quote unquote tests or the path or the journey to get these things, it starts to refine you. It starts to make you colder, right? It starts to make you better. When I say colder, I mean better, right? It starts to make you better, okay? It starts to just make you stronger in your faith, okay? So now you can walk through life and you can keep your perspective on this higher vision. Your perspective is always higher. It's always, this is nice and it's falling apart right now because things are happening in my greatest good. And I can appreciate the things. I have gratitude for the things going on, but my vision is always higher. It's on the faith that I have on the Most High. Okay? So God's sovereignty and wisdom. Job questioned why he suffered, but God reminded him that human understanding is limited. Faith requires trusting in God's wisdom even when life doesn't make sense. I have weapons that you don't know of. I have ways that you do not understand. Constantly, that's one of my mantras, right? The Most High, my soul, my higher self has ways that I don't understand. Ways that I don't understand. Weapons that I don't know of, right? All I know is what I know. And what I know is, even if you, this is what they were trying to tell us when we studied, when we studied matter and atoms and all that shit, right? Is that literally an atom is composition. It's like 99.999% empty space. And all we see is like the 0.0000001%. It's literally a metaphor for life. All we see is the 0.00001%. We don't know the people that are moving behind the scenes to get us to what we want. We don't know the positions that are emptying so we can walk into them. We don't know the positions that are being built that we can't see. that we're walking into, right? We don't see the new car that's just being released that's going to change our perspective of what we want long term. That's opening up for us. We don't see these things, right? All we see is what's right here in front of us. And even the things that's right here in front of us, we only see 0.0000001% of it, right? So, God's sovereignty. Number 4, endurance leads to reward. Job endured without losing his integrity, and God restored what he lost. Everything lost comes back around in another form. This illustrates how faithful endurance leads to restoration, whether in this life or the next. All right? So vengeance is of the Lord. Right? All those people that you want to get back at, whatever, if that gives you motivation, but as long as you have your faith that everything is working out for you, you will be restored twice as good. Because your clarity, just by understanding universal law, if I have a desire, it's the Most High desiring that thing through me. So if I go through a bad situation, a quote unquote bad situation, it's going to give me more clarity. You had this person, everything worked out well for 3 months. Then they started to show other things in them. And then they started to cheat, right? And then because you saw that, now you have to make a decision and step out into the unknown. You have just gained more clarity. If we look at it from a very basic perspective, you've gained more clarity. I like certain things about them. I didn't like that. I don't want this in my next person. How do I build myself up and develop myself so I can spot these things? What mistake did I make? Because there's always mistakes. There's always things that we can learn from. So as we learn these things, we step into this higher vibration. And so once we are on a higher vibration, we attract new things. If we come out of a situation and we stay the exact same, we look back at that situation and we say, damn, why did they do that to me? I don't look at myself and say, what could I have done better? Even if the one thing is I could have picked better. If I don't look back and say, what could I have done better? I will stay on the same vibration. I will attract the same type of things, and I will think all people are the same, when really it's because I'm the same. So I'm on the same playing field in reality. You feel me? So number 5, spiritual warfare and trust. Job's story reveals the unseen battle between good and evil, where Satan seeks to break faith, but God allows trials to prove and strengthen it. Now, we're going to look at this metaphorically. I don't care if you believe in Satan or not. Anyways, you have these, anytime that you are doing something for a long time, we talk about, and I talked about it in the lecture yesterday, where you have entities that attach to the things that you're doing. So if I'm a person that has been comfortable in poverty, I'm a person that's been comfortable in these relationships where I don't feel worthy and I'm trying to chase people around, there's a version of me that's identified with that type of lifestyle, okay? And so when I try to step out of that lifestyle, that version of me still wants to live. So it's going to try to get my energy because it knows that my attention to it's going to keep it alive. So how that works is that you start getting circumstances in your life to try to pull your attention over there. Okay? But it's still just a battle between you and your old self. Okay? You have this new version that you want to be. There's this old version of you that doesn't want to die. It doesn't wish you bad. It doesn't wish you, any ill. But it just wants to survive. Can you keep your focus on this new version of you and move into that new version of you? And give these other things, give these demons time to break, time to fade away. Because the longer that you keep your faith on the Most High, the weaker they get. And then also the last step is as you are getting reinforcement, things are happening in your favor in the external world. Now your ego's coming on board as well. So this whole process of faith, it's doing so many things. It's killing old versions of you that were attached to old things, right? It's killing these entities that were attached to you, right? It's strengthening your ego and pointing your ego so it expects better things now. So you're in an all-out war with yourself. You're changing yourself physically, spiritually. Your faith is getting more solid. How is this not poetic? How is there not beauty in the struggling, beauty in the suffering? How is there not beauty when things are falling apart, right? If all these things are happening behind the scene, and the only thing that you have to do to unlock this awareness of everything is change your perspective, right? Life is poetic, it's beautiful, it's always for you. Okay, so number 6 is humility before God. Job ultimately learns that faith isn't about having all the answers, but about trusting God's purpose, even when it's unclear. Even when it's unclear. And like we were talking about earlier, you only see 0.00001%. It's always going to be unclear. This is the problem with trying to wait till things are perfect, because your human brain wants to anticipate perfection. It always wants things to be perfect. It says, I don't want to start something until it's perfect. I don't want to push out my business until it is perfect. It'll never be perfect. So it says constant battle against yourself. It's you versus you. You don't have all the answers. You do not know how it's going to work out. Just like the Israelites were standing before the water and they saw all the miracles the Most High did, and they still were like, bro, we need to go back. This is crazy. Why are we out here? It was comfortable back then. We could predict the ass whoopings we were going to get. We could predict it, but out here we can't predict shit. It's the same way that we think. This is our flesh speaking. This is the part of us that we're trying to overcome and refine. So it's not just about getting the thing. It's about who you become on the process to getting the thing. It's about who you become spiritually. Those old versions of you fade away. Those demons fade away. Your faith gets refined. Right? All these things are happening in parallel. And you're sitting here and the only thing you can focus on are things falling apart in front of you. When you have all this divinity unfolding beautifully in your life, right? So how this applies to you, like Job, when life strips away what you love, wealth, relationships, opportunities, or health, it's easy to question, why me? But Job's story teaches that true faith is trusting God in the storm, not just in the sunshine. If you are going through struggles, whether financial, emotional, or spiritual, Job's journey shows that God sees, God hears, and God restores. Keep walking in faith, and in due time, your restoration will come. So reflect, what hardships in our lives are calling us to stand firm in faith? What's going on in your life right now that is calling you to be more firm, to be more faithful? We all have them. We all have situations that we can look to and be like, okay, well, this situation, it's very challenging. It's very challenging. How can I sit in the black hole? How can I sit in the unknown of my life? Literally, the unknown is the black hole. It is you sitting in that black hole, and everything that you desire is being pulled into that black hole with your faith. And all you're doing is you're walking. But that unknown is when you're the most powerful. This is when you're getting refined spiritually, physically. This is when all the things that you want are being attracted to you. All right? That unknown is a beautiful place, but it is going to be a challenging place if you don't have the right perspective. Okay? So, number 5, the martyrs and the mystics, a historical perspective. Throughout history, faith has been the catalyst for movements, revolutions, and miracles. Faith is not passive. It is a force that reshapes the world. Those who change history are those who refuse to see limitations. They walk in faith, knowing that the unseen is more real than the visible. Their stories challenge us to ask, are we willing to stand in faith? Even when the world doubts us. Are we willing to stand in faith even when the world doubts us, right? It goes back to that beautiful question earlier, right? How many of your desires have been sacrificed at the altar of doubt, right? How many of the things that you want to do have you sacrificed? Have you let die? Have you went and killed off in your mind the version of you that wanted that thing, that desire that the Most High placed in your mind, right? But because of your fear of what the outside world was going to say, you sacrificed that version of you. You killed that version of you, all because of doubt, all because of the external world, right? What if you actually picked up that desire, understood that it was from the Most High, and you walked through life trying to implement it, and you completely started disregarding the world? You started disregarding if I was getting likes, if I was getting views, if I was getting attention, if I was getting money, and you just started to walk in what you believe your calling is, right? Where would you be? Where could you be? Where could your life take you? Would you be more happy? more fulfilled? Would you feel more purposeful? Right? Cool. So the mystical path, faith as an inner knowing. Faith is beyond religious doctrine. It is the direct experience of the divine. The mystics of every tradition speak of faith as a doorway to enlightenment. Rumi declared, as you start to walk on the way appears. Jesus, Yahshua himself said, truly I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Matthew 17:20. Your problems are the mountains in your life. And your perspective is this paintbrush that you use to repaint everything in your life. Turn it from bondage to beauty, from chaos to beauty, from destruction to beauty. Your perspective does this, right? Your perspective, literally, as you point your perspective into the outside world, your outside world changes because your perspective allows God to flow through you. God is that infinite power that is always just hugging you, wrapped around you, ready for you to point to wherever. But God is also a gentleman, right? God's not just butting in. So if you're not moving with faith, God assumes, okay, you just want to do it yourself. So I'm still going to love you unconditionally. But whenever you're ready to pick this up and reconvene, we can do it together. And every time that you point your faith towards the things that you want, and you say, okay, I don't know how things are going to work out, but they will, and you can relax into that faith, not only do you just feel better, but now the Most High can do his work. The Most High can flow through you because you become an open vessel for prosperity. You become an open vessel to the things that you want. I think yesterday was really the perfect example when I gave a perfect metaphor for this. I say perfect, it was perfect to me. It might not be perfect to y'all, but hopefully it helps. Okay, so energy always wants to flow. Infinite consciousness, the Most High is energy. This is the ultimate energy. Okay, energy always wants to flow. So whenever I'm coaching people and we're talking about money and how to change their perspective of money, what we'll realize is that people that hoard a lot of money, it's very difficult for money to flow through them because money is energy. You think that your money is coming from the job, but God has moved the world and shifted the world to put you in that job so money can flow through you. The people that are cutting you checks, they're not, God is the back of it. They're just the medium. Okay, so every time that you want money or you want prosperity, there's a medium involved, right? Money doesn't just go from God to you. It goes from God to the job, to the paycheck, to the HR department, to whatever, to you, right? You have a product that you're selling. People have to move to buy that product. Right? The medium might be, a bookstore. The medium might be your e-commerce store, whatever the case may be. There are mediums, and then people move to bring that prosperity to you. Now, prosperity is the energy. It wants to flow. Most High, prosperity is an aspect of God. All right? This will make sense in a second. Prosperity is an aspect of God. Prosperity wants to flow to God's people through you. But energy, it's not biased about where it flows. It does not care. That's why people are like, oh, why do bad people get money? Because prosperity just wants to flow to help people. That's it. So if I'm walking through life, right, and here's a good example. Have you ever had an idea to do something? And maybe it was build an app, a website, a product, whatever. And then 6 months later, after you did not do it, you go out into the world and you see it and you say, damn, this happened, right? It was my idea. No, it wasn't your idea. This was an idea that needed to be made manifest in the world. And because it couldn't flow through you, because when you received that information, you didn't act on it, it had to flow through somewhere else. Because the prosperity of the Most High has to flow. Somebody else needed that information. Somebody needed that app. And so it had to be made manifest through someone. Same way that prosperity has to flow. If you go to the gas station, you spend $5, it's going to go to the cashier. It's going to go to the actual register. Now it's going to go somewhere in the company. A paycheck's going to be paid out. That $5 is going to go somewhere. It's going to help a mother buy food for their child. That money needs to get there. It needs to get there, right? Whether it comes from you or someone else because you're being stingy, that's up to you. But if you decide that you're going to be the type of person that blesses the world with your money and spends your money and understands the power behind your money, now you become a more open vessel for money to actually flow through you. But if you become a dam and you're holding on to this energy, you don't want to allow prosperity to flow through you, guess what happens? Prosperity is ready to go flow through someone else. There's no lack of prosperity. Like there's no lack of money. It gets printed. They just print money. So there's no lack of energy that can flow through this universe, right? The only person that cuts off the abundance of the Most High is us. And this happens in the things that we want when we don't walk through life with faith and favor, right? You might want a certain car, a certain lifestyle, a certain apartment. Guess what? If you don't walk in faith that you're going to get it, somebody else will. Because that prosperity has to flow to somebody. Right? That prosperity has to flow through somebody. So you have to do the work through your faith, through your perspective, to understand that everything that flows through me is actually building up a better world for everybody. When I spend $1, I'm not just giving my dollar to receive something. I'm giving my dollar so that dollar can continue to flow. That dollar will flow on forever. Forever. In multiple ways, it expands, right? It can be paid somewhere and then it can turn into digital currency and then that dollar still exists though, right? And so it can expand. It can do all kinds of things. Somebody can launder it. It can exponentially change the trajectory of things. Okay? But somebody needs it. Somebody on the other side of your spending needs that money. And that money's going to get to them. But if you're not an open vessel that can be trusted with a lot of money, that you're going to actually go out and use it and be prosperous and let it go, and you're just always focused on holding on to it, well, then it's going to be difficult for money to flow to you. Because it's not going to understand. Your intentions are muddy. You want it, but you don't want to spread it. Money has to flow. It has to flow. It has to flow to you and through you. Okay? It's like that Taco Bell dinner that you were eating last night. It has to flow to you and through you. Okay? So faith is an inner knowing, a deep resonance with the divine. It is not dependent on external proof, but on internal conviction. So reflection, right? Okay, here we go. What mountains in our lives are waiting for our command? What miracles are waiting for our belief? Okay. What things in your life are waiting for your command? What difficult situations are waiting for you to look at and say, I don't understand, but I trust this is in my greatest good. I trust that the Most High has me. Right? I trust 100%. Okay? So the reward of faith, miracles and manifestation. Miracles do not precede faith. Miracles do not precede faith. Let me bold this word. They do not precede faith. They follow it. Your faith is the architecture that miracles are built on. As you pour your faith into this reality, it builds the architecture for the miracles to come on, for the miracles to start stacking up on. The miracles don't show up and then you have faith. The faith is there and then the miracles show up. Okay, right? Even if you read those stories about, a mother might have her child trapped under a car, car's on fire, she lifts up the car. Right? Which one came first? The faith or the miracle? Do you think that mother stepped to that car and doubted that she could pick it up? Was there any doubt in her mind? Hell no. She didn't even entertain doubt. It was just, that's my child. I have to save her or I have to save him. I'm going to get this done. Boom. And that was it. Now, we tend to try to scientificize. I don't know if that's a word. We try to make the scientific explanation of what happens and be like, oh, it's adrenaline, or oh, it's some kind of fight or flight response, or oh, it's this thing that we can do. Okay, cool. But you can't tap into that shit all the time. It took extreme faith for you to tap into that. Right? And so the miracle happens after the faith. The miracle doesn't happen before the faith. It happens after the faith, right? It's the same way that when Peter was walking on the water, he kept his eyes on the thing that he wanted. He kept his eyes on getting to Jesus. It didn't cross his mind that he was walking into water. All right? It didn't cross his mind. But then as soon as he left it and started looking at the chaos, he started to sink. But even when he was sinking, the Most High was still there, ready to pick him up as the moment that he put his faith back on the Most High. The moment he put this faith on the Most High, right? So miracles happen. Miracles happen because of your faith. Now, miracles do not precede faith, they follow it. The woman with the issue of blood touched the hem of Christ's garment and was healed, not by magic, but by the force of her belief. Your faith has made you well. Most High specifically said, Luke 8:48, the Red Sea did not part before Moses acted. It parted as he moved forward. Same story I was just telling y'all, right? Moses told the sea to part, and it didn't part at first. It did not part at first until they walked into the sea, and the water was above their nose. They couldn't breathe in the water anymore. Then boom, it parted. All right, this is where your miracle is. Your miracle is on the other side of your movement. Faith unlocks miracles. It is the fourth. Faith unlocks miracles. It is the force that turns vision into reality. When we believe, we align ourselves with divine power. So what miracles in our lives are waiting for our step of faith? And the honest answer to this is that everything that you want, everything that you desire, the relationship that you want, the job that you want, the business you want to start, right? The money that you want to see in your bank account, that new car you want, every single thing, the health that you want, all of it is on the other side of your perspective, of your faith. I like to use perspective and faith synonymously, because if you walk through life with the perspective that everything is happening for you because the Most High is bringing it to you for your expansion to the things that you want, now you are on the right path, okay? So conclusion, becoming the architects of the unseen. Faith is the master key to unlocking the unseen. It is not passive belief, but active co-creation with the divine. When we hear these manifestation coaches and teachers talking about co-creation, this is all it's about. It's just about faith and movement. Faith without works is dead, right? And we tend to think work means just busting your ass and working 24/7 and coming up with the perfect plan. It literally just means, what is the next step to take? How do I move through it? How do I move through this life? And am I doing the work? Am I doing the work to keep my faith and my mind on the Most High? Because if I'm doing the work of keeping my faith and my mind on the Most High, it really doesn't matter what my plan is. It's going to come to me in a way that I can't expect. Life is going to push me to where I need to go. I just need to have to take the next step. I just have to take the next step. I just continue going down the path of my plan to the best of my abilities, and boom. My faith is what activates this, okay? So it is the force that moves mountains, the energy that turns vision into reality. As we leave today, let us reflect. Are we merely believing, or are we truly walking in faith? Are we waiting for signs, or are we moving as though the promise is already fulfilled? True faith is not waiting for evidence. It is acting as though the evidence already exists. Let us step forward unwavering, knowing that the unseen is more real than the visible. Blessed is he who has believed that the Lord will fulfill his promises to her. Blessed is she who has believed that the Lord will fulfill his promises to her. Luke 1:45. Okay? So the closing reflection. Take a moment. Take a deep breath. And then ask yourself, honestly, where is faith calling me? Where in my life is faith calling me right now? What areas of my life? Where am I struggling the most? What stands out the most to me? My relationships, my money, my job, my relationship with my parents, relationship with my children. What is it? Maybe it's multiple things. Where is my faith calling me? And then what step am I afraid to take in my life? What is it? Is it having a conversation with somebody? Is it starting up content, posting that first piece of content? Right? Where is your faith calling you? Okay, and what step are you afraid to take? And then with courage, take it. With courage, take it. All right, man. So that was the end of this. Just kind of in conclusion, right? Your superpower is going to be your perspective. The world is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. The only thing that you can do is roll with the punches. Is make the best move that you can in the moment. You can't stress about the past because it's over with. And no matter what you did in the past, all your power is in the present moment. All your power is in the present moment. Okay? So it's about how can I get back to my faith and my beautiful perspective right now. And once you do that, the Most High starts to flow through you fully. And immediately the world begins to break down to give you the things that you want. Okay? The money starts to flow to you. The relationships start to come to you. People start becoming attracted to you to teach you the lessons that you need. Right? All these beautiful things happen once you step with faith. Dang, I just realized my this YouTube and Instagram hasn't been streaming for like an hour. That's crazy. It's unfortunate though, but all right. Anyways, y'all, let's I'll see if there's any questions, and then if so, we'll go through questions, and if not, we'll end with prayer as always. I appreciate y'all, man. Truly appreciate y'all. Some comments were filtered. How do you unfilter comments? I'll figure that out. I give y'all about 15 seconds. I guess so. I don't know what it was though. But I give y'all about 15, 20 seconds. If y'all have any questions, we can go through it. We can talk about anything, really. If not, that's cool too. See, what are some actionable steps I can take to increase my faith? Actionable steps is so difficult. That's so difficult to say, right? Because the actionable step is that it's literally a moment-to-moment decision. Okay, it's a decision that you have to make every moment. And it's really nothing that, man, faith is such an intangible thing, right? It's such an intangible thing, right? So you're going through life and you're just enlightened that, okay, I need to have faith to get the things that I want. Then you walk through with faith and nothing happens, and then you might fall off that path and go back to being who you were. And eventually you start going back to the faith because you're like, okay, well, I'm just staying the same now. But if you walk with faith long enough, things start to happen to sharpen that faith. And so really the only advice that I could give, the only practical step that I can give to faith is working on your self-concept, right? It is, what is the story that you tell yourself? Become hyper-focused on the story that you tell yourself about who you are. Everybody has stories about who they are. Some people walk through life believing that they only attract certain types of people. Some people walk through life and they might desire more money, but there's a ceiling in their mind of what they actually think is practical. Okay? But once you start to question those things and fall into the understanding of who I am, it's okay, I actually am an unlimited being. I am a manifestation of the Most High. This is what brings faith, right? So I think the only way that you can build up your faith to walk through this physical reality is really just working on your faith with the Most High. You do that by studying who you are, trying to tap into who you are, maybe do more meditation. Try to listen to the things that resonate with you in life. So if you're in situations that are destroying your self-confidence, destroying your sense of self-worth, you feel like you're not being respected in those situations, right? Do you have the strength to start walking away from those things, understanding that something better is coming for you? Can you look back on the past, throughout your past, and see situations that unfolded in a way that you didn't expect, that you might have thought were bad at the time, but now looking back at those examples, you see that they actually led you to where you are right now. They led you to a more positive place. Okay, those are really the ways that have helped me the most. Is trying to remember my life for the miracles that happen. We can get focused on bad things so much that when they're happening, we're hyper focused on them, we're stressed out. Then when something good comes out of it, or when that pain fades away and we wake up from that pain in a better reality, we kind of just dismiss it. We don't really look back and say, oh shit, I was actually in a shitty situation and now I'm in a much better situation than I was in. All right. So that's definitely a habit. It's to start focusing on how things always have turned out better for you. How your life would be different if you were in certain painful situations still, or if you were in certain situations that you thought were right for you at the time. You know, were they really right for you, right? But then also just tapping into yourself, being able to sit in meditation, kind of clear your mind away from the distractions in life, enough to where you can actually hear what is the next step that I need to take, right? You know, if I'm going through life, am I constantly just doing what I've been told to do? Am I just moving off of how I think I should move? Or am I moving off of my intuition? Am I moving based on some kind of inspired insight that I'm getting from my consciousness, from my soul? Okay. But you know, the when it comes down to it, we can do all those techniques. You know, we can journal the things that we're grateful for. We can sit in meditation, and we can try to cultivate faith by reading other stories of people and looking back at our past. But faith is really cultivated in present moment awareness. How do you walk through life and continuously pull your mind back to the perspective that everything is working out for you? And if you do this practice long enough with that present moment awareness, you might say, all right, I'm going to start tomorrow. Let's say that you're going to start tomorrow, even though you can start right now. And you wake up, you meditate, and you're like, okay, in this meditation, I'm going to reinforce in my mind that the Most High is with me, that everything is working out for me. And then you get up and you feel good after this meditation, and you go 2 hours, and then you fall off, okay? It's 2 hours. It's better than yesterday. Yesterday was 0. Then the next day, you're like, I'm going to start over again. Right? And so then you only go an hour the next day. Well, it's still good. Okay. And then maybe you start setting up checkpoints throughout the day where you actually maybe take time apart. Maybe you work out at noon, but instead of just going straight to the gym, you set up 5 minutes before you go to the gym to scan, okay, how have I been feeling throughout this day? And am I moving like I believe that the Most High is on my side? And if not, what can I actually do to put my perspective back to where it needs to be? Okay. So by doing that, you start to set up these checkpoints. You start to actively bring your attention back. And then this is a muscle. It strengthens over time. The same way that, you go work out to get your biceps bigger, right? It's going to hurt first. It's going to be difficult first. If you go into the gym for the first time today, right, you're going to struggle. Okay, but over time, you get better at it. It's easier. You can lift more weight. You can lift weight for longer. Right? Same way when you run, you can run longer. Right? Once you start to practice your faith over time, you get better at it. And then you eventually want to get to a point where most of the day you're walking around with this higher concept of you. You're always walking around thinking, Most High is always on my side. Everything's working out for you, boy. Okay? But, we want to do things to remember our past in a more favorable way. So reminding ourselves that good things have happened. We want to take time to meditate and really reinforce who we are. We want to study other success stories of faith. We can use the biblical text. We can go to Reddit and study that. But most importantly, you want to build habits throughout the day that allow you to bring your awareness back to the perspective that everything is working out for you. And that's when things will start working out for you a lot better. That's when your faith will get a lot stronger. So that's a good question. I'm glad you said that, because I should have talked about that. So appreciate that question. Yeah, and then that's a good one too, right? They're only consuming the things that are of the place you want. So when you do have these big desires, you really want to re-brainwash yourself. I would say reprogram, but it's more brainwashing. But you want to really re-brainwash yourself, man. So why are you in the situation that you are right now? You're in the situation that you're in right now because at one point in time you wanted most of the things that you had, but also because there's a lot of programming around you. Okay, there was a lot of programming that said, this is the American dream. This is safety. Get the 401k. Do these things, right? There's all this programming that has made us live life a certain way, even on social media, right? People are giving the same message from different perspectives. They're telling you to do the same types of things, right? Most people's lives in the world, if we just look at it from the U.S., most people live the same type of life. Like we have people that are super rich and successful and doing what they want. That's the very few. We have people on the very low end, which is larger, but it's still few. And then you have a whole bunch of people in the middle doing the same type of shit, right? And so if I want to do different, okay, I'm going to need to start clearing out my mind and really focus on what I've been focusing on. So one of the best ways to do that is to go a day and eliminate everything. Eliminate TV for a day, phone for a day, the computer for a day. Go into the silence. Literally sit around and do nothing for a day. What you'll quickly realize is that most of your thoughts aren't your own. If they're not your own, that means that those other thoughts that are not your own are the ones that are programming your reality. So most people are living their life as a set of scripts, like a set of, your parents said you should do this, the teacher said you should do this, your boss at your job said you should do this, the TV said we should care about this, right? Politics said, well, this is what we should focus on. The church says we should. Most of our thoughts are not even ours. There are other people telling us what we should do. And the moment that you take that day, that 24 hours, you say, okay, no phone, no TV, no book, no music, no nothing, no conversations. Literally, I'm just going to sit in my crib bored by myself. You'll quickly realize that, damn, which one of these thoughts is mine? The only things that I think of movie lyrics and Netflix shows and quotes from songs and what the teacher told me and what I have to do at work and which of these are my original thoughts and desires. And what you'll realize is that 90% of what you think about is not yours. The things that you want comprise a very small amount of your thoughts. So how do I expand that? How do I flip it around to where most of my thought is around the things that I want and it's focused on my faith that everything is working out for me? And the small amount, because there's still going to be a programming. As soon as you go back into the world, you're going to be programmed again. But you still have to be able to question everything. It's just that many people don't take enough time to really detach themselves enough to start questioning a lot, right? Because questioning things within the programming, sure, it's useful, but I think the quicker way is to completely unplug for a little while and get your thoughts together. And then you can go plug back in whenever you need to. Because you can't, let's be real, you can't completely unplug from this world 100%. Nobody can. Okay? Unless you can if you go live on some remote island by yourself and survive. out there. You can do that. You know what I'm saying? If that's your dream. But I don't believe that's a life of balance. Right? So we're still going to have to be in the world and understand what's going on around us and connect with family. And your family's going to have perspectives on the world. And you want to still be able to have conversations with them. So, you know. Yeah. Appreciate that question. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time today. Got 10 more seconds. Let's see if there's any more questions. All right, y'all. Let's wrap it up with a prayer. And I will let y'all have a beautiful Thursday. I mean, do I bring it? I mean, I never have. I've been on other people's lives, but I never have. Because I do it from Streamlabs, and it connects to all the social sites. So I don't really know how to bring anybody on Streamlabs. So, I don't know. But no, I haven't before. And then because I like to kind of stay on, that's a lie. I was about to say because I like to stay on topic. I really don't ever stay on topic. I just kind of go wherever the wind blows me. All right, but nah. That's a good idea though. That's especially like if it's a more pointed conversation, right? Like a more pointed topic. It would be cool to talk to. It would be cool to do conversations. I'll think about that. Yeah, that'd be cool too. You know, have a woman's perspective or another man's. It doesn't really matter. Or just have different perspectives. Maybe like that's how I always say life is fractal. Right? Maybe have I can't think of anybody that'd be just completely against what I say, because I feel like the things that I say are pretty balanced and layered. So I could see a lot of different perspectives, but yeah, a woman's perspective would be cool, especially if we had like a relationship discussion, like we talking about, or just masculine, feminine energy, things like that. That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Think about it. I shall think about it. I'll get back to you in a couple business days. 5 to 7. No, 7 to 10. 7 to 10 business days. I got you. But all right, y'all. Let's go in. Let's go on and get in prayer mode. All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for everything that you have provided into our lives to expand our souls, to give us more empathy, to make us more divine, more beautiful, to raise our vibration, our level of consciousness, and put us more in alignment with the things that we want. Right? Continue to lovingly show us how our faith pays off. Continue to constantly remind us that you are walking with us side by side and are always ready to move with our faith. And I pray for anyone that is struggling, that's going through heartbreak, that's going through any kind of pain, that you provide them with the peace that only you can provide. And you constantly remind them of your love and the love that is always within them, ready to be unlocked and ready to overflow into the divine counterpart that they are waiting for. All right. Amen. All right, y'all. I see you all as beautiful, as divine, as wealthy, as prosperous, as loved, as loving, as whole, as complete, as gods and goddesses that you are. If you don't feel that way, that's cool, because I see you as that way anyway. So I know it must be true. All right. So y'all have a beautiful, beautiful Thursday. And maybe we'll talk tonight. Maybe we'll talk tomorrow, Lord willing.